welcome to another episode of Pretty Brilliant. My name is Brittany Nicole. I'm a neurolinguistics expert, and on this channel, we talk about reprogramming your mind to level up your life. So this is part 2 of a series which I'm doing on how to have emotional control. The first episode was more so about what emotions are and the state of mind that you have to be in to even be able to relate to your emotions, to be able to even have control over your emotions. So I recommend, if you have not seen that video, to watch that one first, because that's going to make this one make a lot more sense. This video is about the skill of emotional control, the practical, tactical stuff that you can do to improve and build that skill. First thing to update in your mind, and this might take a couple of times to sit in if you've never heard this concept before, but you are not your emotions. You have your emotions, you experience your emotions, but you are not your emotions. Here's another way to say this. This is a pencil. I have this pencil. This pencil is in my possession. I am not this pencil. Just because I own this pencil, it doesn't mean that I am this pencil. Now, emotions, because they're not something outside of you, it might seem like they are you, but they are not you. They are something that your body creates and an experience that you have. So you need to first, in order to develop emotional control, realize that it is something that you can control. It is not your fundamental being. Let's make this more specific. Hunger, right? When you are hungry, you want food. You might have an appetite or a taste for a certain thing, but you are experiencing hunger. You are not hunger. You are a person who is hungry, right? So when it comes to all of your emotions, you have to start to look at it like that. Not, I am sad, as in sad is my identity and sad is who I am as a person. I am a person experiencing sadness. I am not angry, as in anger is my identity. I am a person experiencing anger. This might sound so basic, but it's a subtle mindset shift, because when you give specific language to something that you can't see, you give your brain an opportunity to interact with that thing and have a relationship with that thing and have control over that thing. But if you don't separate that thing from your identity, your brain conceptualizes it like it's all the same. You are anger, you are hunger. Everything is one. Having emotional control starts with reorganizing your understanding of your relationship with your emotions. Your emotions are something that you have. They are something that you experience. They are not who you are. Now let's talk about how to actually move your emotions around and have control of them. So the way that I like to learn new things is a little bit different. If I want to study something and if I want to understand something, I don't go and study that subject first. I figure out what the skill of that subject is, and then I find a person who mastered that skill, and I'll either study their work or have them teach me that skill directly. For example, when I was still working my corporate 9-to-5 job before I had started my own business, I hired a mentor whose expertise was fear. I said, teach me everything you know about fear. Teach me how to be afraid, because I know that fear is the number one thing that I'm going to be contending with as I go on this path that's uncertain. I could have hired a business mentor to teach me about funnels and marketing and all that stuff, and I did do that, but I knew that emotionally I was going to need to have a healthy relationship with fear if I was going to navigate this world where I know how shit was going to turn out. I invested in the usual business education, but I really wanted to invest in the uncommon education. I knew that I was going to be doing public speaking and writing and interacting with people. And I'm an introvert, so speaking and interacting with people was not my number one skill at the time. So I decided to take an improv comedy class that would allow me to practice my extemporaneous speaking, allow me to refine my sense of humor, allow me to get comfortable with discomfort and being in the moment. And I knew that those skills would translate to business in the long term. The reason I say this is because while emotional control is a relational skill and something that you can practice developing in relationships, it's also something that you can practice outside of relationships. You can actually treat this like a skill that you're learning, like improv comedy, like learning a new instrument. And I find that the more you give yourself areas to practice your people skills outside of your relationships in safe and simulation type contexts, the better that you can develop your skill. Acting is a perfect example of this because an actor is using their emotional fuel to power the story that they're trying to tell. They might have had a day from hell, but if they are on set and they have to portray whatever character they have to portray, they have to conjure up those feelings and use the feelings to tell the story. Actors have a sort of muscle memory with their emotions. They have to use them so often and change them out that they have the reps here. So this is our subject matter expert. The other reason that I think acting is a good discipline to consider as a reference point for emotional control is this allows you to experience your emotions as fun. Whenever you are learning something and you can make it enjoyable, one, it will become a lot more memorable, and two, you will be a lot more consistent because you are rewarding your brain for learning. A lot of growing up and healing is challenging and going deep and facing your subconscious and all that. Like, that's necessary, but I am not about that. Let's always be serious and not enjoy our healing process life. We're not doing that. I think that actually when you can figure out how to make a very hard thing enjoyable, you give yourself such a gift because every time you do this hard thing that propels you forward, your brain also says, give me more of this. I enjoy this. So I'm going to give you some emotional control homework, and it's not really work. Like, maybe we should call this home play. I'm going to give you a micro scene and one single line that you have to perform in the scene. Now, bear in mind when I say perform, you don't have to show this to anybody. You don't have to share it with anyone. This is for you and you. If you want to share it with somebody, then you are welcome to do so, but that is not something that I'm assigning. That's extra credit if you feel like doing extra credit. So here is your scenario. You just found out that your best friend lied to you about something that matters and you're confronting them. Here's your line. I just need to know why you didn't tell me. That's it. That's the whole line. Now, what you're going to do is say that line in 3 different ways and 3 different emotional flavors. Flavor number 1 is with a petty and sarcastic tone. Okay, you're annoyed, you're coming for them. Flavor number 2 is curious and calm. Not trying to start shit, you're open, you want answers, you're trying to resolve shit. And flavor number 3 is hurt, but holding it together. You're trying to seem calm, but it's actually really bothering you. There are several ways that you can do this exercise, and you do whichever level is most comfortable for you. You can do it in front of a mirror and just watch yourself. You can record yourself on camera and watch the video back. If you're not comfortable with seeing yourself that up close and personal, that's totally fine. You can write it as a written monologue if acting it out feels too much, or you can do a voice recording and just hear yourself expressing the different tones. Completely and totally up to you how you want to execute that part. After you do the exercise, I want you to reflect on these questions. Number 1, what changed in your voice? Now, even if you're writing this exercise out, you can use your tone of voice rather than your spoken voice. Question number 2, how did your body feel for each exercise? Question number 3, which version felt closest to how you'd react in real life? Question number 4, which one would you be uncomfortable to express? This exercise is not about acting, it's about emotional range. It's about noticing what the texture of each emotion felt like in your body and in your experience, and playing with that almost experimentally. An experiment is really the operating word here. This is experimental. Let this be silly and unserious. We're just trying on emotions so that we can have better language and better muscle memory when it comes to noticing what different things feel like in your body. Also, as a resource, I'm going to recommend my book, Go Love Yourself, which is available on Amazon. This is part memoir, part power playbook, and emotional control is a huge theme throughout my book. I also have exercises just like the one in this video on several different topics. There are 12 skills that I am teaching in this book. If you want to check out a sample of my book, I do have an audio version of chapter 1 on my Substack, which I'll include in the link below. Thank you again for watching this episode of Pretty Brilliant, and I will see you next time.